with Advocate Paul Hoffman. My question, I'm going to be very direct to you, because South Africa, as South Africans, we are infiltrated by these so-called motive forces. There's European interests in this country using civil society. White privilege, they want to maintain it at all cost in disguise of civil society. I can name them: Helen Suzman, your organization as well, Kazakh, and others. My first question will be, who's funding you? Because I think the honorable member asked you, and for me, I was not happy with your answer. Just want to find out, let's start there in the beginning. Who's funding Accountability Now?
Accountability Now is funded by small contributions from members of civil society in South Africa. It is also supported by the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, which has offices all over the world in about 90 different countries, but they do not pay us any salaries. They simply give us work to do. And they have an office here in Cape Town and another one in Johannesburg. In the past, we have attracted funding when we took on the dysfunction in the education system. The Potter Foundation in the UK gave us some money, but none of the directors of Accountability Now draw a salary, and none of the work that is done by them is paid unless it is in public interest litigation in which a costs award is given in favor of the litigant being represented. That's not a financial model, and it's not one where a great deal of money changes hands.
I understand the issue of which we are raising, the salaries and the benefits, and my worry is simple. You've mentioned the Potter, I think it's the Potter family, Dr. David Potter and Dr. Elaine Potter, Michael Polowski, and all those, because they've got their own trustee as well. I mean, those are trustees of their own organization. But my question is simple, Advocate Paul Hoffman. Mkhweng said, there's no free lunch. There's no free lunch. What interest do they have in this country, those Western, these people we are talking about? And the civil society, as I said earlier as well, they've got their own interests. And in this country, what we've seen, they target black professionals. They come as what they call it, friends of the court. I'll give you an example, perhaps to draw your attention. Your organization said nothing about Phala, am I right?
No, on the contrary, we believe that Phala is a disgrace, that the ConCourt has taken far too long to deal with the appeal in relation to that. We're now waiting more than a year. It's December. It had its birthday in December last year, and we're now close to February this year, and we're still waiting for a judgment. Yeah. And we have, if you go and look in Business Day, you'll see I've written in Business Day saying it's just not good enough that the ConCourt is taking so long to produce a judgment which they say should come within 3 months, and it's now over a year since they heard the matter. So we're with you on that one.
Yeah. Hence we say, we cannot be held at ransom by a constitutional court. We can't be ruled by 11 judges in the constitutional court. We are lawmakers here. We have to make laws in this country. People voted for us to be here. Now, you've raised an issue now to say they've promised in 3 months' time.
That's the standard. The standard is 3 months'
time. Yes. That's what's supposed to have happened, and it never happened. Because they are law unto themselves. Do you agree with me on that?
I can imagine because I have an insight into how these things work, that there may be different threads of thought in the Constitutional Court as to how the matter should be dealt with, and that those are being debated between the justices who are sitting in the matter. Unlike you, I still have confidence in the ability of the Constitutional Court to uphold the law and the Constitution. And it is a bad example that we have all been kept waiting for so long on the Phala matter.
Let me just add on that. Do you believe that judges are independent?
I do know that the ANC actually admitted it in the Zondo Commission, that they felt the need to involve themselves in the appointment of judges at all levels, and that they were not willing to leave the appointment of judges to the discretion of the Judicial Service Commission. But I'm not sure what this has to do with the business of this committee.
I'm going to ask you once again, we've got term of reference, as you know. My question is very simple. Do you believe that judges are independent?
Yes. Yes, I do.
So are you saying judges are independent?
Yes.
So with all what is happening in this country, hence I was saying to you, you know that there's one judge who's suspended as we are sitting here.
Is that the corrupt judge in Gauteng?
No. I'm just asking to you. I'm just putting to you. You say judges are independent. Am I right?
Yes.
And I'm saying no. And I can substantiate that they are not independent. You know, they are a human being like you. They are fallible. They are not supernatural beings. Now, in fact, we've got a problem of this Dutch Roman law. I think
Dutch.
Yes, the Roman Dutch law, we have a problem with that. Now, in fact, you said earlier, you've made a mistake and said the Honorable Sangoni is a member of the Portfolio Committee of Police. She is not. And as well, the issue, Advocate Hoffman, the 35% is not true. They were supposed to answer for themselves, but they are 40%. There's GNU as we speak. Our fellow opposition party before we came into Parliament, who raised the issue of Phala. They won't raise it again. They are very happy because, as you know, it's politics. You know, they are in the same bed as the other parties, in fact, who did not mention the issue of Phala. They've forgotten about Phala completely. We are the one and the other opposition party who are still raising that, and I'm happy that you have said so as well. Let me come back and take you back to CIX. You were a complainant, am I right?
CIEX?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, can you get closer to the mic, please?
Sorry. Yes, we complained to the public protector that the work that was done by CIEX hadn't been followed through on in the new South Africa after it was found that there was corruption in the old South Africa and that it was possible to rake back loot from various parties involved in malfeasance in the old South Africa. We did initiate that.
And you raised that with the public protector, Advocate Turima Tonsela, am I right?
Correct.
6 years down the line, there was nothing from that office, am I right?
She actually told us that she wasn't going to deal with the matter at all.
Yeah,
and then she changed her mind and she tried to deal with the matter, but she didn't actually finish her report.
Now, when that report was released, were you happy with it?
No, I wasn't.
That ABSA must pay the interest.
It wasn't what I was expecting at all.
No, what I'm asking, were you happy that ABSA was ordered to pay the interest?
No, I don't think that was a correct order.
Yeah. Now,
Neither did the Constitutional Court, for that matter.
so why were you complaining? What was your complaint about that?
The complaint to the public protector was that I got given a copy of a report by CIEX that indicated that there had been malfeasance in the old South Africa, which I believed should be followed up on and wasn't being followed up on. And that is why Tuli Modonsela, in her term, worked on that case and kept that file open.
And you remember Judge Heath?
Do I remember?
The report which the SIU reopened that proclamation, which Judge Heath to recover the interest owned by ABSA. And you were against it. Hence, I'm asking, why were you against that report?
I didn't catch the name of the judge that you're referring to.
Judge Heath. Judge Heath.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in that part of the deal. It wasn't really germane to our complaint.
So it was normal, and you were talking about the executive getting involved in other issues, that even the executive went to court, to complain that ABSA has to pay the interest.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this part of the case, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, but you were a complainant. But let's pass on that, Advocate Hoffman.
Yes, I did.
My issue with these civil society, and these courts, because I hear you, you are very obsessed with the Constitutional Court or courts. Hence, I was saying to you earlier, they are fallible. They are like you. And we can give you examples with prosecutors as well. They've mentioned, some witness mentioned them here. And General Mkwanazi is not only one person. And we know for a fact that especially the legal fraternity, they are closing ranks like any other institution to protect each other. To say, hence I'm saying, Mkhweng made it very clear that as judges, they are human beings. They are not supernatural beings. And he was right. I'll give you an example. Somebody was sentenced without trial in this country, and you said nothing. Nothing. I don't want to go to the merits of the case, but it was unheard of in this country. Unheard of. That no one will take an oath before the magistrate or the judge to plead guilty or not guilty. And we know what happened. We know what happened. Hence, I'm saying to you, this issue of establishing, I'll put it into in a plain, simple language. By hook or crook, it would be a rock unit of some kind. It will be a rock unit. This what was proposed, this bill which has to be passed here, it will be a rock unit. Perhaps in my view, and as Mkondo says, I will say the SIU and perhaps the the Public Protector Office, maybe merge them together, but don't have another institution. Then we are told it's independent. Independent is a big word. It's a big word. There's no guarantee that those people who you said they'll go through all the, what do you call it as well, light detector, the integrity. It depends in your eyes. In particular, the Western interest in this country is huge. We've seen in the Western Cape, some people want the Western Cape to be independent from South Africa. Us as indigenous people of this country, we are told that we are foreigners in our own country. And some of this civil society, they are quiet, including the one which you are the chair. Corruption Watch is quiet. Kasak is quite quiet. Helen Suzman is quiet, and others. So, in my view, I'll contextualize this. In fact, what you brought in here. For me, you said my honorable colleague, Honorable Breitenberg, is the one who brought this issue, as well of this independent, so-called independent body. But I'm saying there won't be any independent. They are going to push white interests here. I'll put it clean and clear. Bitter as it sounds, but there's European interest here in this country. We had the NPA, as you said, they failed. When Patoyi was brought from, I think he resigned elsewhere, he came in here, glorified, to say he's going to lead the NPA. We know what happened. We know what happened to the so-called state capture, the Zondo issue. You might be correct, Advocate Paul Hoffman, on other issues, to say the executive, as we sit here, some of them who were named in that Zondo commission, we have to respect them. They are executives, they are ministers. Nothing happened. It was like a talk show. Big money has been spent.
Honorable Skosana, the two organizations have made a presentation before you. And when we started, I said that they are not witnesses. And I listened for about, it's over 20 minutes now. And I wanted to hear you asking any question pertaining to their presentation. Because if you want them to comment on matters that are outside of the scope of their presentation, it's going to be very difficult for them. They are suggesting legislative and policy interventions. Or in short, just to say, they are proposing a review of the structural framework that we have in the criminal justice system. And they have been very categorical in terms of the areas that they wanted to talk to, including the recommendations they are making. So, but if we want to take them personally to say to them, who are you? And what right do you have to come and stand before us and make a presentation? I don't think we are being fair to them. I think I've given you adequate time to ask your questions. And once again, I'm going to give you time to ask them questions pertaining to the presentation and the suggested recommendations that they are making before the committee. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Obviously, this presentation doesn't come from the sky. There's some roots in it. So I wanted to start with the roots. It might not be right, according to you, Chair. But I think Advocate Hoffman has done well in responding for himself, and I must appreciate that. I'm going to come to AFCOP, Mr.
Before you move on, will you permit me to respond to something that you put to me? In the course of the last 20 minutes, as an independent body in the judgment upon which I rely. It is simply a body that needs to be placed outside of executive control in order to deal with the mischief that the judges perceived when they were hearing the Glenister litigation. So we're not asking for an independent body. We are suggesting that the body that is a single body outside executive control should be one that reports to this parliament instead of that executive. And to the extent that you were suggesting that I'm here to ask for an independent body, certainly independent of the executive branch of government, but not independent in some nebulous way. So I just wanted to get that correct so that you and I are on the same page in relation to the work of this committee. Thank you.
Yeah, but I must just say to you as well, the Public Protector's Office reports here in Parliament as well, same as that body which you propose that should be established. So it will be the same thing. But for me, it will be costly as well because we don't have budget. You know, those people who will want to be paid as well, as you said, you know, the salaries as well, people should be paid well and that, you know. So for me, and we don't think that we need another body. Let me be clear on that one. Coming to the issue of the subcommittee, establish a standing parliamentary subcommittee of the Portfolio Committee on Police with a mandate to scrutinize the interaction between the executive, SAPS, and all law enforcement agencies. Can you briefly perhaps enlighten us on that? Because we have the Portfolio Committee, and I guess that for us to have made a mistake in terms of what General Mkhwanazi presented to us, I don't know, those members of the subcommittee must come from where? Within ourselves as well, or must be from somewhere else, if I may ask?
Thank you, sir. No, I understand it as members of Parliament and members of the Portfolio Committee. The issue here is a system of systematic and sustained scrutiny of executive interaction with the operational leadership of the organs of the criminal justice system. So a facility that would receive, and we go on later to say, a register of those interactions, the submission of that register, but a subcommittee that will be able to engage with those issues and on a, I suppose, a standing basis, so that these issues are recognized as important and they scrutinized to the extent that there might be or might not be undue interference.
The strengthening of legislative provision to ensure transparency and a merit-based appointment within South African police service leadership. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Do you mean that the current one is got some flaws?
Currently, the National Commissioner is appointed by the President.
Yes.
So we are advocating that in terms of the integrity and trust in the process and the trust the public has in the person of the National Commissioner, that there is a competitive and transparent process, much like the appointment of the head of public prosecutions, appearing before, interviewed by, and recommendations made that then go through to the President for final appointment. We believe that this will increase the trust and transparency in the appointment and the person that is being appointed.
If I may take you back, I know it's not about the police. You know that when the Chief Justice was appointed, there were a lot of hullabaloo because they recommended a judge who was supposed to be the Chief Justice was not appointed by the President. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And now, as we speak, there was these interviews of the NDPP, and unfortunately, no one was appointed for all those ones who were appointed. Don't you think the same thing will happen again?
Unless those provisions are tightened in the legislation. The way in which the system currently works is it is the prerogative of the president to make those appointments. We are arguing that the criteria for appointment is far more transparent and clear, that the competitive nature of the application and interview is provided for, and that the best candidate's name is put forward. If we believe that it would be beyond the purview of the president to then appoint somebody outside of that list, that short list that is provided, then this is something that Parliament and South Africa must apply its mind to.
Chair, I just want to thank for your benevolence as well, because you didn't give us time today. And I must say to both of you, thanks for your responses as well. And I made a lot of comments indeed. And I must say that, you know, this did rise from the patriotism, you know, of this country, you know, especially from Advocate Paul Hoffman. Hence, as Umkondo says, we are still concerned about the civil society, especially those who are sponsored by the West. Hence, we have to, I had to question that. I know the chair has raised that to say, perhaps it was inappropriate. But for me, that's the route to know, because sometimes we are dealing with some people sitting elsewhere in London and Australia and other areas in the US, you know. Hence, I was asking, because we have that problem in this country when those people who've got big pockets wants to control the narrative. Hence, I even mentioned an example about the Western Cape, that today a foreigner, for that matter, is telling us that he wants an independent Western Cape. Hence, all those questions which are posed to you to say the issue of civil society is a big concern for South Africans. Indeed, in particular, the indigenous people of this country. I thank you. Thank you, Chair.
If I may respond to the final words from the honourable member, I need to place on record that the only time in its history that Accountability Now has found a sponsor for public interest litigation was indeed in that attack on the malfunction in the basic education system that was sponsored by the Potter Foundation. It's the only time that we have lost big time. So the Potter Foundation has been impoverished to the extent that it funded the litigation, and it has absolutely nothing to show for it.
Honorable Shonga.
Thank you very much.